The year is 295 BC. At Sentinum, Rome had shattered the greatest coalition ever raised against it. Gauls, Etruscans, Umbrians, and Samnites lay broken, their armies destroyed, their leaders slain. Yet Samnium did not yield. Stripped of allies, the Samnites fought on alone, ambushing Roman columns, storming camps, and resisting every advance with stubborn resolve. Even Roman writers would later admire their defiance. In 294 BC, Rome sent Marcus Atilius Regulus and Lucius Postumius Megellus to finish the war. At Luceria, Regulus turned defeat into victory, destroying a Samnite army, while Postumius ravaged Samnium and crushed unrest in Etruria. Still, the Samnites endured. In desperation, they turned to an ancient rite. From across the tribes, 16,000 warriors were chosen, clad in white and bound by a sacred oath never to flee. Those who refused were slain at the altar. This was the Linen Legion, their final gamble. Reinforced by thousands more, they marched into Campania for one last stand. Waiting for them were Rome's new consuls, Spurius, Carvilius, Maximus, and Lucius Papirius Cursor. The war was nearing its end. At Aquilonia, it would be decided. The Samnites assembled the largest army in their history, nearly 40,000 warriors. At its core stood the Linen Legion, 16,000 chosen men, bound by sacred oath to fight to the death. Around them gathered veterans and levies alike, a desperate host determined to break Rome or perish. Yet before battle was joined, their strength was divided. Papirius planned to pin the main Samnite army at Aquilonia, while his colleague Spurius Carvilius Maximus struck nearby Cominium, forcing the enemy to fight on two fronts. To save the city, the Samnites detached 8,000 men as reinforcements. But warned by a deserter, Papirius uncovered the move and forced their commander to recall them. The order came too late. Having marched too far toward Cominium, the detachment could not return in time for battle. At Aquilonia, only around 28,000 Samnites remained to face Papirius and his 20,000 Romans. The Romans were still outnumbered, but no longer overwhelmed. At dawn, the Samnites arrayed themselves on the high ground near Aquilonia, ready for battle. Papirius drew up his men in steady ranks, the legions in the center, flanked by cavalry. On the right stood Volumnius the Violent, on the left Scipio Barbatus, each eager for glory. The clash began with fury. The Linen Legion hurled itself forward, chanting their oaths, driving into the Roman line with relentless ferocity. For a moment, the center bent beneath the weight of fanatic courage, not breaking, but yielding under pressure. Then Papirius revealed his deception. On his orders, Spurius Nautius had gathered camp mules and attendants, driven them in formation along the ridges, and dragged leafy branches to raise a vast cloud of dust. From afar, it looked as if Carvilius's entire army was arriving. Both sides believed it. Roman morale surged, and with it, urgency. The Roman commanders spurred their men on, determined to defeat the enemy before the other army arrived and could share in the glory. The Samnites wavered, fear taking hold that they were being surrounded. Papirius struck at once. Roman cavalry under Trebonius and Caedicius charged forward. At the same time, Nautius and his cohorts attacked the Samnites in the rear. The shock was immediate. The Samnite horse scattered, and the infantry was hit from multiple sides. The momentum shifted in an instant. The Linen Legion fought to the bitter end, bound by their oath. But courage turned to slaughter. Their shining armor was stained red, their sacred vows buried beneath Roman steel. Volumnius drove into their camp. Scipio pressed hard on the left. The Samnite host, once disciplined, now fractured, began to collapse in waves, dissolving into ruin. By nightfall, their camp was taken, their banners seized, nearly 100 in number. Livy claims over 20,000 Samnites were slain, thousands more captured, and only a few escaped. And on that same day, Carvilius stormed Cominium. Though part of his army had been detached, he scaled the walls, broke through the gates, and overwhelmed the garrison. 5,000 were killed, 11,000 taken alive. It was total destruction. The twin disasters at Aquilonia and Cominium shattered Samnite power. The Linen Legion, their sacred oath-bound host, lay annihilated, their white armor scattered across the field, their courage turned to ruin. One by one, Samnite strongholds fell. Cities were stormed, fields burned, and captives led away in chains. Never again could Samnium stand against Rome as an equal. Yet still, they resisted. In 292 BC, they called upon their old champion, Gaius Pontius, victor of the Caudine Forks, for one final stand. He too was defeated and executed. At last, in 290 BC, the Samnites submitted. Their independence was gone, their lands reduced, their people bound to Rome. But submission was not peace, only a pause. The wounds of Samnium ran deep. To the south lay the rich Greek cities, and beyond them, new possibilities. The Samnites had lost the war, but not their hatred. They were a people waiting for a champion. And across the Adriatic, one was already rising, a king of Epirus, dreaming of conquest and bringing with him a weapon Rome had never faced before: war elephants. The fires of Samnium were not extinguished. They were only waiting.